Hello, everybody. This is Thunder here of HG Central, and welcome to the third attempt at trying to record the very first HGTalk podcast. Hopefully, this will be the successful time, and if not, then, well, crap. But anyways, basically, I kind of wanted to do one of these podcast things for a while, just get a bunch of friends in a Skype call and discuss about gaming stuff, including personal stuff and recent stuff in the news, because we're very professional at this, except we are not.
I'm probably the most unprofessional, just saying.
Possibly, but I don't know.
Incorrect.
Anyways, so before we get started, I'm just going to introduce everybody, including myself. As you know, I am already Thunder of HG Central, and I will be mentioning two things. The first thing is, of course, what do you do on YouTube? So, as you guys know, what I do on YouTube, on this channel at least, is Let's Play games, and then as well as other stuff. But if anyone knows my personal channel, I do just gameplay videos, random shit, and the occasional YouTube poops. So there's that. And my first gaming experience, I believe, was as a wee kid, 2-3 years old, playing Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo. Alright, anyways, let's move on to the guests. So first up, I'm going to call upon Rising Jericho. Please introduce yourself. What do you do on YouTube and your first gaming experience?
Yeah, no pressure. I just put Bob in the spot. Okay. But all right. So my name's Bob, and I am the weeaboo of the group because on YouTube I do let's plays of anime video games. Anything I can basically get my hands on, and I showcase how I absolutely annihilate them, and all good times are had. And I swear a lot. Good times. My first gaming experience was Star Wars Episode 1 Racer on the N64. I was so bad at it. I played it. I got 8th place, and I was like, oh boy, I won! And it kind of just escalated from there into the shitposting guy you see today.
Now that's pod racing.
Now this is pod racing!
It's the only thing I know about it. Next, I am going to call upon Captain Turbo. Please introduce game experience and what do you do?
I just do basic LPs on YouTube. I do focus mainly on Sonic the Hedgehog stuff. And my first gaming experience was around late 91, early 92 with Combat for the Atari 2600.
So you're going very retro. Anyways, next up, let's bring in Garnet Racing to this party. Again, introduce yourself, what you do on YouTube, gaming experience that was your first.
I do LPs, mini games with random people, and probably my first experience would probably be either the original Spyro or Crash Bandicoot 3.
Well then,
It's a lot of fun.
PlayStation all the way for the back in the day. Okay,
Yeah, buddy.
Okay, that sounded very weird.
Yeah, buddy.
And lastly, we have, of course, Rhino GT4. So please introduce what you do on YouTube and first experience with gaming.
Well, surprise, surprise. I make let's plays. But I focus on a bunch of racing games because I really like racing games because I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. And also do other types of videos involving racing games, and I sometimes LP the occasional not racing game, but that doesn't happen often. But as far as first gaming experience, earliest I can remember is being a wee lad about 4 years old or something, shitting my pants, playing Super Mario Brothers 3. Pretty sure the Super Nintendo version, and also owning a Sega Genesis and playing the shit out of Sonic 2 and 3, and Knuckles.
A lot of Sonic.
And Knuckles.
And just in the nick of time, because I guess he got back, we have a fifth guest. It is Angel, as I call him, but also probably better known by some as Racer X NFS. So, Angel, I'm going to ask you, introduce yourself, what you do on YouTube, and your first gaming experience.
Hey there, a pleasure to meet you all. Hold on, this is working properly, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Alright, thank you. Yes, I go by the name Racer XNFS, and I'm more of a Twitch streamer, but Hold on. I've never been good at this type of thing.
What you just do in general then, whatever.
Oh, okay. No.
on
I'm not. I'm not good. I'm not good with the whole introduction thing. This is something I'm a little bit lacking. Anyway, you said you asked me about my first gaming experience.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
That would probably be. How should I put this? Well, my folks used to be gamers back in the day. My mother and my father at the time, and I guess they owned a Super Nintendo. I wound up playing a lot of that, and I was introduced to like Super Mario World and the All Stars cartridge. But in particular, I guess something that really got me, because I grew up a car guy, so they had a cartridge of a video game called Top Gear, unrelated to the TV show of the same name, by the way. And I just started playing racing games based on that, and I've been playing games like Gran Turismo ever since. I still remember staying up in my room for like 2 hours as like a 10-year-old playing Gran Turismo 2 on a 5-inch television that was meant to be battery powered for rescue situations where the where the power went out. Exactly. So I'm just playing endurance races on that tiny thing. And it's just amazing, and I've been playing racing games ever since. It's just my thing.
You can go ahead and do that, Turbo. He's just gonna step up for a few minutes. But yeah, so that is the case. Because you had the most to say, for sure, that's for the case. So anyways, I've brought some topics here. I don't really care which order we do them, so I've got like a thing that'll just pick whichever one, and that's the first one we'll talk about. So let's see what...
RNG.
So let's see what we end up getting. So let's see what it picks for us. And, okay, we actually got a good topic here. The first topic I'm going to go into is, are always online games, which is basically DRM, is that a good thing to you, or is that a bad thing?
No. Unless it's an MMO. No.
It depends. Depends what they're trying to do.
I don't know. I think that's going to get universally ragged on.
Yeah, I've seen a couple people though who do like it, but I think the majority, it kind of seems like not like a lot of people like it, because the problem to me about it is you have this game that's going to be set there, and they're asking you pay the regular price that you'd pay for any other game. But if it's always online, you can never play the game if, say, you're away somewhere and you don't have internet access. If you don't have internet, you're fucked. You can't play it. And then the problem is, what happens when the game shuts down, server-wise? You can't do anything. It's pretty much a dead game. It's a brick. And to me, I don't understand why all these companies feel it's such a good thing to do for their games. Because they're really not.
That's really my biggest problem with the always online shit, is that once they shut down if they eventually shut down the servers, you pretty much have a finite amount of time to play the video game until it's gone forever.
Yeah, I don't get the idea behind it.
Sure, if your game's meant to be played online all the fucking time, like if it's an MMO like World of Warcraft or something, that's alright. But if you have like a single-player campaign or something, at least give them the ability to, like, if you have to like register something online, that's still a problem, but it's acceptable. But at least let people be able to play single-player offline.
Yeah.
Without having to worry.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyone else got anything to say?
Yeah, Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay, I'll just go first. Alright. So, I can kind of see that there'd be, like, benefits to using like online all the time, because, like, it keeps it so, like, all games, like, up to date, and, like, it can add shit, and it's, like, kind of just turning games into more MMO experiences than anything else, but I think the bad more outweighs the good, because if you just look at it from the game developer's point of view, it's kind of like with which Assassin's Creed game was, I think it's Brotherhood, the one that was always online for PC. You look at it as more of just these game companies just want to use it as security, so make sure no one's gonna pirate anything ever from them, and they just want to maximize profits. But in order to do that, they kind of just castrate the user experience in the process. So it's kind of really like more bad than good thing, and it really just shows game companies are really paranoid about wanting to keep their maximize profits all the time. Thank you, Ubisoft. I really see nothing but bad outweighing the good when it comes to all online shit, unless it's MMOs. I'm good.
Alright, so...
Alright, well, alongside that, there's also the matter of, I guess, a local situation for a bunch of the players. Because not everyone has good internet, or by I guess a better way of saying it, stable internet. You could live in a region where the internet will disconnect frequently if you're using something like a satellite-based connection or something, or if you just live in a bad place where things disconnect, or if you're just someone that has to use Comcast for internet. Forgive me for saying so.
Comcast.
but again, yeah, these people think that everyone's got the perfect internet connection for this type of thing, and say the connection goes out or something along those lines, then suddenly you can't play your game anymore. It's not too dissimilar from the situation Thunder mentioned, where say someone's traveling or in a place where they don't have access to internet, then they can suddenly not play the game anymore.
Yeah, like
it
in
seems
a way,
a little bit unreasonable from the companies unrealistic from the companies to expect this from their client base.
right, and kind of in a way, they're alienating like a portion of the audience that would be interested in playing the game, but they may not have constant internet access or good internet. Maybe they can't afford a good connection. They're stuck with I don't know, 1 meg down or something. So they can't experience the game to their fullest, and yeah.
Yeah, and the thing too...
Have there already been examples of the games that are no longer playable?
I think so. I'm trying to think of some non-MMO games, but I can't think of any.
Yeah. I think one of the worst offenders...
Is Mag still up?
Okay, I see you're back, Churbo.
Mag is not still up.
Sorry, I tried to sneak back in.
Yeah, Churbo, whilst you were gone, we brought up the first topic, and basically, since you're back, I'll explain it to you. Do you think always online games like DRM, is it a good thing or a bad thing? And if so, or if not, why?
Definitely a bad thing, because obviously those servers are not going to be maintained forever, so eventually people are going to have a disc they can't play.
Yeah, I feel that's what you basically said, because it's, again, you pay full money, and the game's not even going to be around forever, so it's like a brick afterwards.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the worst offenders when it came to this was definitely SimCity, because SimCity is a game that does not need to always be online, and yet EA thought 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago now when the game came out, that they needed such a thing, and I'm like, really? For something like that, a game that built its foundation upon times when online wasn't even really a thing, and you're basically preventing everybody from even getting onto the game if they don't have online. Not to mention, when you launched the game, when it first came out, it was broken beyond belief, and even people who had fantastic internet connections couldn't log on because it didn't work. So, and then, although I do like this game, I don't like the fact that the crew always has to be always online, especially when it has a single-player campaign and has things that you could easily do in single-player.
Yeah, the thing with the crew is I don't know, the point is there, but at the same time, they're pretty much advertising it as an MMO. But like Thunder said, I mean, you could just drive around and do absolutely nothing with other people. You could do everything by yourself. What I'm scared of is when that game eventually stops being supported and their servers get shut down, will they implicate some kind of single-player thing, or will they just shut it down for good and say, fuck it?
Can I point something out?
Yes.
No.
Well, that's how kind. Anyway, there is this kind of situation where the game developers and publishers are somewhat aware of this type of situation. In particular, I remember a few years back or something, EA. You remember the time when EA was doing the whole online pass thing? All the companies were doing the whole online pass thing, where you had to pay to get the online thing.
Yeah.
Everyone was on this kind of trip. A few years back, EA made their online passes for all of their games available for free. wasn't too dissimilar for what Ubisoft did with Driver San Francisco, but that was caused by a bug. But that's another situation. Some game companies are a little aware of what's going on, and they do try to fix this kind of situation. But I do fear that in the Cruise case, it might not be playable, even though Ivory Tower staff did create Test Drive Unlimited, which, oddly enough, was a offline available MMO.
Mm-hmm.
You remember, you can play that game offline, but it was still an MMO. So calling an MMO doesn't completely excuse the lack of a single-player or offline component if it's possible.
Yeah.
I think this is more of Ubisoft's part than Ivory Towers.
Yeah, I would say so. I don't mean to nag on you.
No, that's fine. I got my point across.
No, I don't mean to nag on you, Angel. It's not that. It's your mic does. It works. I can understand what you're saying. You do. It does sound a bit glitchy though, but I think it shouldn't be.
It's popping like no one's business.
Yeah, he only has his older Samsung Galaxy phone to use because his headset mic broke. So.
And do it.
He doesn't have the money right now for a better mic, but I wanted to let him in anyways because he's good at explaining shit. So I guess we kind of all really determined it's a bad thing and it just shouldn't be a thing.
It's just like with DRM. Even when the games first are released, they never have enough servers for everyone. Then people tend to have the game for a long time before they can play it anyway.
Right. How many freaking games have had server issues when they launched?
SimCity, Diablo 3,
GTA Online.
Yep.
Multiple times.
And it's funny because a lot of these games think that they're ready for this kind of thing. Like, we are preparing for this kind of thing. We've run betas, blah, 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 blah. And they never see it coming. Absolutely never.
They underprepare for the absolute server overload that happens.
You can expect that for... You can expect that for things like IPs and first attempts at games, but when it's an established franchise like SimCity or something like that, you've got to be prepared for a lot of people to buy your game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, we really covered a lot with that topic. Jesus Christ. But, anyways, so the next topic, and there's no is it a good thing or bad thing? We all know it's a bad thing, but let's explain why microtransactions are the worst thing in gaming ever at the moment.
Jesus Christ.
All right. Here it is. Here's the thing. It's not 100% terrible, but the way it's being used in today's gaming is bullshit.
Not very good.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Mortal Kombat easy fatalities, enough said.
Yeah, it's like, and then there's like these things with like these mobile games too, like Dungeon Keeper. I think that's what it's called. I apologize.
Mobile games are just microtransaction
hell.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Dungeon Keeper was absolutely terrible at it because you had to pay. Like, you didn't just have to pay to really further progress in the game. You had to pay a lot of money, and you have to keep doing that more and more and more just to advance. And it's not a surprise at all that it got flamed upon so badly. I mean, I guess I can understand some mobile games but really, if they want to have microtransactions so badly, they should just keep it a optional thing that doesn't really give any reason for anybody to be like, oh, hey, well, I could do this, but then again, I can easily make in-game money, or I can get this thing in the game with little effort or very not much hassle, at least.
Basically, making an option, and don't shove it in our face.
It's just the fact
there are some games that do that, thankfully. I could list a couple off the bat, I think, or at least one.
It's just the fact that so many games they seem to get so possessed with this thing. That
it's not even the mobile game market, it's everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, can anybody explain why a game like Gran Turismo 6 needs to have microtransactions?
It doesn't.
Laziness.
Therefore, it doesn't.
Really.
But he's too damn lazy to actually play the game.
It does. No, you can pay to have money in the game.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's really unbalanced.
Yeah, it's pointless. I don't understand any reason any game should ever have it if there's no real reason for it other than I can't be bothered to play the game as much. I don't care. It's my own money.
It's kind of a double-edged sword because maybe there's some people who just don't have the time to grind all that money, and they want to try out a bunch of in the case of Gran Turismo, a bunch of different cars. They just don't have the time to grind out all that fucking money. So it's a convenience for them, but it's still an issue.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if it's just there's just way too much of it, and it's way too expensive is the problem. Need for Speed World needs no further thing about it, because
Microtransactions, the game.
I'm not spending over $100 of my real money just to get some kind of currency that can get me like these fancier cars, which in some cases you can't even get unless you have Speed Boost, which now they're kind of closing that out since the game's gonna end in July. But it just drives me nuts.
Pay to win.
I don't like this pay to win idea at all.
Well, there's a difference between microtransactions and pay to win. If it's one thing that you can pay money to progress yourself in a way that you can progress yourself doing normally, say grinding out money and whatnot in the case of Gran Turismo 6, or the Mortal Kombat Easy Fatalities or something, that's one thing, because it's not necessarily pay to win. It's more or less, if they're giving me for saying this, it's a tax on stupid people. And let's be honest, not a lot of us are stupid.
Or laziness.
I'm sure, go ahead.
What the fuck this thing everyone's talking about with Easy Fatalities?
You in Mortal Kombat X, the new one, you can literally pay to buy these to buy the option to put for one-button versions of the fatality system in game. So instead of having to put in a button combo at the end of the game where you have to go finish them, you literally press one direction, one button, and it's literally a key code. So you're literally paying for one-time use key codes in that game for easy fatalities.
Wow.
Oh. If you can't even do like a 3 or 4 direction input and then press a button, then get good, scrub.
Exactly.
If you can't even do that, you probably don't even deserve to win the match to begin with. Jesus. Wow.
Exactly. Like I said, a tax on stupid people. But there's a difference between that and pay to win.
Well, I was kind of.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, I was kind of saving my opinion on this for last because I want to play a little bit of devil's advocate. Here we go. All right. So I'm gonna be forefront and say that I don't think you guys are making this out to be like the most evil thing on the face of the earth, but I'm gonna say that I think there's far worse things in the gaming market than pay to win motives, such as like day one DLC.
Oh yeah, there's definitely worse things.
On disc DLC. I think that's far worse, but
yeah,
I
don't know. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I don't know.
I just Tekken Revolution.
This is the issue with too many people in the same call.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know
if it's my internet speed or not, but
I know. I just hate it more than anything that you have to pay money just to advance in the game. But I can see where you're coming from. I guess let's just talk about it briefly. Like, what do you guys think then is the worst thing? Because for me, it's microtransactions.
No, I'm still done.
Yeah, you can finish.
Yeah.
Okay. So I play a game called Tekken Revolution, which is a free to play game on the PS3 that is basically like a free to play model of Tekken. And the only real pay to win or like microtransactions thing they do is like to sell you costumes, or like after you go like 5 rounds in an online game, you can pay like a buck or two to like get some more tokens, keep on playing online. I get that, but I think it's really more. I think it's better when you focus microtransactions not on gameplay or being able to continue gameplay, but more for like add-ons that don't necessarily enhance your experience, but like broaden it. I think microtransactions could be used for cool shit. Like Dead Space 3 did have like 1 or 2 really cool guns that you could pay for, but it doesn't necessarily let you win the game. They're just like decently good. Mm-hmm. But on the other end of the spectrum, I have seen a lot of games like fucking Soul Calibur, Broken Destiny, Lost Swords. Soul Calibur Lost Swords, which just indulges itself with fucking my brain's dying right now. Hang on.
Give us
money. With microtransaction bullshit. So I can see both sides, but I think if game devs stop riddling or like just driving themselves on like cash intake and cash flow, I think it could be a hell of a lot better.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, can I point something out just to kind of back you up on this? I did say. Oh, sorry. No one even said yes.
Nah, go for it.
Keep going.
There are some situations. Well, none of us are saying that microtransactions are 100% bad. There are some situations. well, there's some situations where it could be working pretty damn well. Especially in the case of free-to-play games, when it's done properly. If it's pay to win, then obviously it's not done properly. Need for Speed World is a fantastic example of this. We could pay $100 to $120 of real-world money, not even jumping for a single vehicle, and absolutely decimate the competition, which is a damn shame. But there are games that do this kind of thing properly. I used to play Warframe on the computer a lot, and most of the pay to win, most of the stuff that you buy through microtransactions and stuff like that is purely cosmetic. It's not necessary, but it was still popular. And also, I've kind of jumped up to Crossy Road playing that on the cell phone, and there's no necessary microtransaction in that game at all. It's just to unlock characters, which could be normally unlocked through story gameplay. As long as it doesn't interfere with gameplay, the microtransaction can be beneficial, almost.
All right.
Yes.
Well,
It's
you-
definitely...
made a distinction.
Everyone goes silent.
Well,
enough?
because
Yeah, right.
we're all trying to speak. So,
Yeah.
who wants to have center stage first?
Ah!
Okay.
Shit, I forgot what I was going to say.
What are we talking about now?
Can I jump in with the macro,
Yes.
macro things? All right.
Go ahead. Have center stage, Turbo.
I was just gonna say, I personally agree. Like, you can play MMO games and stuff, and you can basically use macro transactions to buy better armor, upgrades, and stuff like that. It doesn't interfere with the actual gameplay at all. It's just that you can sort of get these things early in the game that you usually would and stuff like that. What I don't agree with is when you actually need to pay more to carry on playing. I think you mentioned, was it Dungeon Keeper or something like that?
Dungeon Keeper.
Thunder?
Yes.
Something like that. And you need to basically just keep paying to play that game. It just seems such a big rip-off. It's just done so badly, but a lot of companies seem to be going that way with pay to play these days.
Yeah, it's just such a. I don't understand why. So yeah, I guess. So we really
It
buried
can be-
that one.
Microtransactions can be used for good, but most companies choose not to because money.
Yeah.
They see the giant
Agreed.
dollar signs.
They live by the quote from a movie I can't remember the title of. Greed, for the lack of a better word, is good. Anyways,
I know that quote.
I do too. I just don't know where it's from.
I know, it's bugging the crap out of me now.
Garnett, you've been
Google.
you've been a
So-
bit quiet. Do you have anything else to add before we move on to the next topic?
I was gonna say is like I'm pretty bad at microtransactions. Like there with Race Room, I think I spent almost $600 in buying everything for that game.
Oh my god.
Jesus.
Anything in
Christ.
Racer.
But I love it so much. It's like in they have the Audi R18 or coming out soon. It's like, would you stop? I want to buy it too.
Yeah.
You know all that, man. I just
Wait.
got cars. It's cheaper.
It is cheaper. Anyways, so here's a bit of an interesting topic, and hopefully this may look a little more positive. Of course, we always have all these gaming stores, like, of course, the not usually well-praised GameStop, and then a lot of local gaming stores, and then some other lesser-known ones. From what you usually see, perhaps as a customer, what would you want these gaming stores to do better? The minds
That's
think.
actually a little bit of a tough- That's actually a little bit of a tough one. It feels like in a case like this, we can complain about these stores quite a bit, as much as we want. But when it comes down to it, we can't think of a way to improve the situation. Let's see if we can't change that.
Well, I can give something, I guess, so I can start it off. I think what these gaming stores should probably do better. I know some certain stores do it, but I know GameStop / EB Games is usually
Whoa,
a big.
hey guys.
Is usually yes.
Welcome to EB Games.
Is usually a big offender at this, but I think what they need to do is they need to hire people who are more experienced with the gaming stuff and what they're selling, because it's infuriating when you go into a store and you're dealing with an employee who doesn't know how to help you, or doesn't know anything
That's
about
the
what
point,
you're
too.
trying to buy. It's with some stores maybe it's understandable for a new employee because they're new and they're learning their ropes and everything. But
Yeah.
if it's someone who's been there for a long time, there's no reason they shouldn't be able to help you for anything. And GameStop just tends to do that a lot. They just tend to bring in the people because they're young and they want to offer their resume to them, and they're like, oh, this sounds great, well, we'll bring you in, and then they know nothing about gaming. So
That's not true.
I don't know. That's just my personal viewpoint. Are you sure any of you guys have anything else?
I might have something along the lines of what you said, Thunder. It's a little bit of a tricky situation with that. It's not always entirely tied to gaming. Let's face it. If you're working with a store like this, you need to know more about this than just video games. It's also a matter of like social skills and whatnot. You may know a lot about gaming, but you may not know how to help a customer. Let's face it. Not a lot of gamers are, let's face it, socially adept. That's a good way of putting it. But yeah, there needs to be a little bit of a balance to that, and it's hard to find employees that have that kind of balance. Maybe it's just staff that are just eager to want to get into it, but they don't know how to do it. But God forbid, they're trying to figure it out. They're trying to learn.
Yeah.
So you can't always give them a new one. It's more disinterested people that are a bigger issue on this. It's like maybe they're just looking for an easy buck, and they might know something or two about gaming, but it's not like they genuinely want to help.
Yeah.
Maybe they're spending all their time trying to memorize the paragraph that they have to tell you when you enter the store.
On top of trying to sell you the memberships.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know what
Rewards.
you guys are. Yeah, basically. I'm not sure what you guys are talking about with just bringing a random Jack out to work at GameStop, because the GameStops that where I live, holy crap, it's like nigh impossible to be able to even work in them. They have such a high barrier of entry for anyone who actually wants to work there.
Yeah, but I guess one other thing I will add, and this would mostly go for the lesser known stores, is understand what you're selling. Not in the sense of what the employee, but rather what you're telling the customer. Like, because a lot of gaming stores, I find they tend to completely under or overestimate the prices for games or what they have in stock. Because it's some places they like to charge way too much for a common game, and then it's like, why would I want to pay this much for an older game? Like, retro gaming stores are usually hit and miss on this. Like, I don't know why they're so varied. They really should look more into the common denominator of, okay, this is what this game usually goes for, and or either go with that or go with this is the price that people would be happy to buy for. Because if you can target those, you'll get more people to buy the games, because people will come back singing, you guys had great prices, I like to get in their game here. But yeah, okay, I guess this topic didn't work out as much as I was planning.
The only thing I can really think of, and this only applies to like big chains like GameStop, EB Games, is they don't really have much support for like the retro games. You usually have to go to like smaller, used game stores or whatever to get those.
Well, speaking of that, like literally, because they're just starting to do this, there's a couple test markets that GameStop's doing right now. I think New York City and somewhere in Alabama. I can't remember the exact place, but they're doing
Alabama.
They're doing test markets where they're going to be bringing in retro games, retro games, just to see how they would do with them. And if they turn out successful, then they'll start fleeting it out to all their other markets. So you never know.
There we go.
Some people are not looking forward to it because it's a GameStop, and we all know how bad they can be. Getting 50 cents from a game
for a very low price.
Anyways,
how many asterisks behind that price?
Anyways, so I guess we didn't have as much to say, but things to talk about. Hooray!
Voice.
So I guess next thing I'm going to ask, and I think I have a feeling you guys will definitely have a lot to say about this, is that should gaming developers fully support the idea that, at least especially for single player wise, mind you, that the customers who own the game, who buy the game, do modding on it?
Short answer, yes. Long answer, yes.
Extremely long answer, yes.
I mean,
Free
look
for
at
I don't know, I don't
single
really
player.
play
like the
PC.
Skyrim modding community. There's so much shit that people have added to Skyrim. They've added hours upon hours of content for free for the hell of it.
Yeah, and so many of you trying to talk at once, it's crazy. But
I kind of overpowered everyone there.
I guess
have no
I'll
opinion on this because I don't really play on PC.
I guess I will say my perspective on it. Of course, any online modding that affects other players and makes you seem like a blatant cheater, you can go right the fuck out. Because I
That's
can't.
not modding. That is hacking.
Yes, technically, I can't stand that. I really think nobody should support that because you just become a giant asshole basically doing that.
If you're doing things that gives you an unfair advantage over other people, that's not. No.
No.
But if you're just downloading shit to enhance and add to your experience with the game, so be it. Go for it.
Yeah, and I
You
think
can make the. Sorry, go ahead.
And I think when it comes to single player, I think what companies need to understand, and at least Bethesda has noticed this quite a lot with Skyrim, and Rockstar Games is slowly starting to realize it with their Grand Theft Auto series, but when you add these mods into the game, the amount of endless possibilities that you have, it makes the games have so much more to add to it that years down the road, people will still be playing them because they're new and interesting ways to continue adding something fresh to the game, so that it basically it really extends its life cycle. So it'd be like 10 years down the road, here's someone still playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas or GTR 2. So, because there's all these other extra things that people can add to it, so it makes it feel fresh and new. But, so I...
Plus...
Yeah, go ahead.
Shit. Plus, with all the people that makes these mods for the games, it's kind of like, a wake-up call. Hey, game devs, they like this game so much that they want to make it even better. Let them.
Yeah.
Anything else?
They're doing this on their own time for no benefit other than to give more enjoyment for people.
Yeah. So I know I heard Turbo was about to say something.
I was just gonna say, didn't League of Legends originally start off as a Warcraft 3 mod, or at least a hack?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I actually never knew this, but I don't know much of League at all. So
Stuff like
It was based off of Warcraft 3.
Yeah, I thought so. It's just goes to show you that you can create something new by just modding something.
and stuff like DayZ. Used to be an Arma 3 mod, wasn't it?
Arma 2 mod.
Arma
2.
The original, Dota 2's become quite popular, and the original was a mod as well.
And then you have Counter-Strike as well, I suppose.
Yeah, and that spawned Gary's mod literally in the name.
Yeah. And then
The ultimate mod game.
Stanley Parable is another one.
Yep.
That was originally
That's
mod of
not-
Half-Life
not-
2.
Yep.
Oh.
That was
shit.
indeed.
I know that one.
Bob, do you have anything? Or no, because you just don't do PC stuff.
It's not that I don't do PC stuff, it's that I've never really touched PC. I'm usually just a console gamer because that's where Tekken is. But I guess if it mods the single player experience, then I'm all for it. If it fucks people online, then no. So yeah, I don't really have a lot to add on than that.
But yeah,
I just want to say this quickly. I think modding on console games should be a lot more allowed, and not so much like, oh, if you even like modify one thing on a PS3, your ass is going to jail.
Isn't it also more difficult to do it?
It is also a lot
Okay.
more difficult because the PS3's infrastructure is bullshit. But I just mean like
Yeah.
PS2, PS1, Wii. I mean, goddamn, have you guys ever tried to mod the Wii? It's like the easiest thing ever. You pop an SD card, boom, you're already done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not all that different from modifying the PSP, and I understand this kind of situation. However, it's a little bit of a different kind of situation because these console developers are trying to keep this closed infrastructure to avoid something like console piracy or messing with online play, and I can kind of understand they're trying to protect their players in a lot of situations. It's a lot trickier.
Yeah, basically, but
At the
thing
same
about
time,
that
they're
is,
being a bit overprotective.
Oh yeah, I will definitely not deny that.
I say probably when it comes to overprotective, I guess I can understand when it comes to cases like I'll bring up a very recent news story that has been spreading. And this is for anybody who's been playing GTA 5 on PC. There's been 2 mods that have been come out. I don't know if they're by the same author or not, but it's an Angry Planes mod, which just spawns a bunch of planes that just try to target you and blow up and all that shit. And there's the no clip mod, which really needs no explanation if you played games like Doom or Half-Life or Portal. But those actually contained traces of malware when you put them on the computer, and when the game actually ran them, it would add the malware onto your computer.
Oh, those are always fun.
So I can
There's a dick move.
Yeah, it really is. So I can understand why maybe some companies are a bit protective about it, because no one wants that. No one really wants anything like that. But at the same time, it shouldn't be that everybody gets punished for it. The only people who should get punished for it are the dumbasses who put these mods out, that puts these malware stuff, or I don't even know how you say it properly. I think it's malware, but it could be malware.
I don't know.
I say malware.
Okay, it's malware. It's
Malware.
malware, okay.
Yeah. Well, I just got something quickly to add to that, though, before we actually end this off. How many of you guys remember what the PSP, or no, not the PSP, the Vita, when it was going to launch?
It was sometime in 2012, I think.
Okay, so they were touting the Vita as being quote-unquote unhackable and totally hack-proof, and because they were going to line it with, like, all this DRM shit, and whenever you connect to the computer, you have to be online with either one or the other, and all yada yada yada, so on and so forth. They fucking modders cracked the Vita within 24 hours of the thing's launch. The supposedly uncrackable system was cracked within 24 hours, and now it's being online all the time, and the proprietary memory card is literally nothing more than a massive hindrance and a giant price tag for the Vita, especially killing the Vita in America.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say that is pirates gonna pirate, so yeah, basically, who cares?
Do what you want because a pirate is free.
Yeah, right.
There's only
Yo ho, a pirate's life for me.
There's only so much you can do to attack the pirators, like, 'cause no matter what you do, they're never gonna go away. So I think companies
They're
gotta
never gonna
understand
back
that.
down.
Like, does that mean we here support pirating? Well, no. You should go out and get the actual stuff.
Yes,
But
support.
But the thing they gotta understand is, no matter what you do, they're never going to go away. So,
You guys remember when I was talking about Assassin's Creed 2 earlier and how it had DRM for the PC?
yeah,
Fucking pirators modded it so that you don't have to be online for it in order to play it.
they did the same thing with SimCity, and I wouldn't be surprised if that ever happens with the crew in the future. But who knows?
I think it was
Right.
diverting with SimCity though.
I don't really think that's a matter of pirating for the
Because,
SimCity, because that's more for people wanting to play offline. That's not a pirate thing. That's a take down the
Exactly.
fucking points thing.
No, well, we're not talking about the pirating thing in that case. We're just talking about modders being able to do such things.
Yeah.
But yeah, see, we mostly agree that most companies should support it. So that's with, of course, these things that sometimes they
Or
gotta.
mods, not hacks.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
Anyone who wants to see the benefits of modding should either play Skyrim or go watch Critical's recent videos on HGT 5. It's all innocent shit. It's hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
We're
It just goes to show you how capable modders are.
It's
Or
like shit
silly.
like GTR2 and even Assetto Corsa.
Yeah.
There's mods out the ass for those 2 games.
The thing with Assetto Corsa in particular is that not only are modders supported in Assetto Corsa, they've got Kuno Simulatona Zoni or whatever. I need to read the actual pronunciation for that.
It's probably
Not
Kuno
only-
Simulazioni. since
They
they're
not
funny.
only properly support modders, they've actually brought in modder content into Assetto Corsa, the main line. The AC Cobra was a modder-created car, and they brought that in officially.
Yeah, and they
So there's
officially
a proper
supported
way
it.
of doing this. Exactly, they brought it into the actual game itself. There's a good way of doing modders, and they're doing it right. More companies need to do this.
Right.
So companies, if you're listening out there, take advice from the people doing Assetto Corsa. I can't remember their name because I'm dumb.
Kunos.
Kunos.
Let's just call them Kunos, yeah.
Anyways, so let's move on to a
Next.
topic that is extremely news related, but I gotta get your
fuck
opinion
this.
on this. What the fuck is wrong with Konami?
Oh, no! That is...
This can of worms, alright.
I want Kojima for president.
Kojima 2016.
Oh wait,
Konami.
2016.
Kojima for
Let the usurpation begin.
I'm actually gonna let you guys go first if you'd like, because I've mostly been doing it.
Who wants to go first? Who wants to take center stage?
All right.
I actually don't.
Here's the biggest nail in the coffin. They want to put their main focus on the mobile market.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're completely going scorched earth on this, merging all the teams, firing the people that made Konami money, completely disregarding their own past. It's a living nightmare. They basically lost their damn minds.
And the fact that they're just being so greedy about it too. Yeah, because they not only said that they see mobile gaming as the future of their company, they also said
Future video games.
Yeah, future video games. They also mentioned how that they can't really be bothered to make more traditional games. They went out and said that. Why would you say that as a company? Is it bullshit?
Because they don't really need to worry about making money. I mean, they make plenty from other areas, like, for instance, the Yu-Gi-Oh cards, they make crap tons of money from that alone.
The thing is,
they make money from that, but
the thing is that apparently mobile gaming is like a big thing in Japan. So from a business standpoint, it makes sense, but at the same time, don't alienate, not mobile gaming.
Don't alienate years of history and customer bases in other parts of the world just as big as Japan's.
And then the thing that really bugged me was they were putting up all this hype for a new Silent Hill game.
Silent Hills.
That was being done across a job between Hideo Kojima and director Guillermo
del Toro. I fucking butchered that to hell.
Yeah. They had the PT demo for PS4, which was quite well received and had a lot of promise and showed hope that the new Silent Hill game would be very interesting.
Yes.
Then they cancel it. And now, because of that, we're seeing these assholes sell their PS4s for thousands of dollars on eBay because it has PT.
Upon the cancellation, they removed PT from the PlayStation Store.
They not only delisted it, but they made it so it's impossible to re-download. Even the delisted games can be re-downloaded, but PT is the exception here. It's very disappointing.
They're basically trying to erase just everything that ever existed of PT and just trying to brush it under the rug.
It's absolutely frightening. Even Mr. Del Toro was completely blown away by all of this. There was a recent interview with him, and he's just he's so disappointed in this whole situation. What did he called it? A scorched earth tactics, and he's just completely He's been in two situations where he's tried to get into video games. The first one was a studio that got shut down, and now Konami, and now he doesn't even want to try to create a video game anymore because of all the crap that he's going through. He's just as shocked as anyone else here. And it's really, really disappointing that Kojima's having to go through this, that Mr. Del Toro's going to have to go through this, and it's all Konami's fault. It's a waste of talent for the sake of money. It's legitimately infuriating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And now we wait for Kojima to show up with the Silent Hill spiritual successor on Kickstarter.
Yep.
No, the Metal Gear
It's gonna happen.
Spiritual successor.
That too.
It's gotta be Metal Gear because that's his baby.
Oh, true. Metal Gear.
Or Snatcher, because he's made a lot more than just Metal Gear.
So yeah, I was like, I don't know. It's like they had all these amazing IPs, so many successful games that are since been considered some of the greatest of all time, and they just want to completely throw all of that out of the window. It's really sad.
Bull games!
It gets worse when you realize that a lot of those IPs, they're going to try to convert their more popular ones into mobile games. Can you imagine a mobile Metal Gear? Because I don't know whether we can, but Konami sure can. And it's going to take us for every penny we've got if it's up to them.
Oh, yes.
Do you think they'll sell off any
It
of
is
their
technically
IPs?
already a Metal Gear the game on the mobile market. But it's entirely fan-made, though. That's the only difference.
Well, there was a Metal Gear Solid Touch, which was just kind of a touch-based shooter kind of thing, for Metal Gear Solid 4. but this is kind of in the infancy of the mobile market. I don't know what they're planning on doing right now, but there's no possible way it'll be any good. Jesus Christ, I can imagine something along the lines of Metal Gear Farmville or Clash of Clans or something, or imagine something. Well, Metal Gear lately has had a very good base building aspect in. No. Dead serious. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, Peace Walker, Portable Off. They've had a very good base building aspect, and they even had a tiny version of that in the second screen app for Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes. Now, next thing you know, it seems like a very real aspect. The next thing you know, a very real possibility that next thing you know, you'll have like this free-to-play Metal Gear base building thing where you have to try to build mother base on your cell phone and paying real money. Next thing you know, you're paying $75 real cash to build a chibi Metal Gear in your phone. And it's a very real possibility because these guys have lost their damn minds.
They pretty much have just shit their pants in what do we do anymore. It's like, it's literally basically, as Bob put it, ripping pepperoni, Konami.
Yes.
Yeah.
But to be fair, pepperoni is what they'll be eating after they enter the mobile market. I know Brent's not here, but I'll just let read out what he said about it when I was previewing the topics to the guys in the chat, because we like to set up this stuff at least.
Planning.
We're professionals.
Basically,
It only took us 3 tries to get this to work.
Yes.
But Brent says, accordingly about Konami, their main office will be a cardboard box next to a thrift store. And they'll have a game called Metal Gear Bejeweled, and the plot twist is you're trying to match actual Metal Gears, like actual gears made of metal. And installing it will completely brick your smartphone.
Or nuke Canada, because that's half the plot. It's nukes and robots.
Yep.
Forgive me, Thunder. I didn't want to see you die, but you must die so Konami can live on the mobile market.
I hate you. Anyway, so yeah, ripping pepperoni, Konami. You have been good to us. Now you need to stop being assholes.
Show up with something.
Yeah. So, going back to this gaming related, but not gaming stores.
Actually, can I drop a few thoughts on Konami quickly?
Go ahead.
Okay, so first of all, I've been seeing arguments about this everywhere, and I actually occasionally see people trying to defend Konami because, hey, they're a business and they're all about money, which already that itself kind of makes me worry about the argument ahead. But they've been saying that the mobile market in Japan is where it's at, and mobile is quote unquote the future of gaming. That's true, but do you know how many other tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of developers have tried to penetrate the mobile market and have failed?
A lot.
Everybody and their mother. It's literally everyone and their mother's pet cat.
Yeah, basically. So Konami's chances of penetrating or even attempting to get in there is nil. Second of all, do you know? Okay, so you probably heard that Konami was actually taken off the stock market, or removed themselves from the American stock market.
Yeah, they did.
It was announced that Kojima was going to be leaving. You heard about that, right?
Yep.
And apparently, the head honcho over at Konami is actually going to be pushing the Japanese government to legalize gambling in Japan, so that when that happens, their pachinko, which is apparently where a good chunk of the money comes from, with their pachinko machines, which is, if you don't know, pachinko machines are basically like animated like game slot machines. It's basically highly stylized gambling, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to push that so that it gets legalized, because there's been like a slight like cold streak going into it. So they'll be able to put all the money into like investing in stuff that they actually make money off of.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Which, if you're banking on that, you probably want to get some more contingency plans than that. I would just say.
Yeah.
And on top of that, Konami apparently, according to Iga, the guy who made the Castlevania, or one of the developers of the Castlevania series, I love his new Bloodstained Kickstarter so much. He went out and actually spoke on behalf of Kojima and actively said out against Konami that apparently Konami is a bunch of bullies when it comes to them trying to want to crop out guys that are working for them. Like, they are assholes when they want to let go of people, big time. So
Corporate
that tells me
douchebags.
their management is shit. They're trying to invest into gambling. They removed themselves from the stock market. They're trying to damage control everything and micromanage all their shit. That tells me that their Konami is not confident at all about their business infrastructure whatsoever. And considering they're losing their last big money maker, fucking Kojima.
Hideo motherfucking Kojima.
Yeah.
You know what the funny situation about all this is? I know I'm interrupting you here, but I just find it hilarious that they're doing all of this to enter the mobile market, and there's just the matter of a ruined reputation. They're completely shitting themselves. Not to mention, and simply put, if they're trying to enter the mobile market, they'll look at the game, see it's done by Konami, and they'll just, like, get turned away. Like, they don't think the repercussions of doing all of this will affect their reputation in said market they're trying to enter.
Well, here's the thing, though. I can totally understand Konami wanting to shift to the mobile market because if you've seen any of their games that is not called Metal Gear trying to sell, it doesn't. They pulled Silent Hills. They fucked up the Castlevania series with Lords of Shadow 2 in the first one, too. Everything else they've been trying to do has been sliding under the radar. No one knows about it. And their last big moneymaker is Metal Gear. So I guess them wanting to shift to the mobile market does make sense, but they're not going to... There's a way to fix this, guys. It's called get some new fucking fresh blood on board over at Konami so that you can actually make better games.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yep.
They do want the fresh blood. They want the inexperienced, stupid fresh blood that cannot work and that'll work for pennies.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's... Anyways,
All I could say is that Konami is basically sunk now.
Yeah.
Also, I want Kojima to like stealth his way back into there, like some Patriots shit, and take over Konami from within. I'm just saying, I would love that. Isn't Kojima also taking a bunch of employees from Konami with him?
Yeah, he owns his own entire. He owns 2 studios under the name Kojima Productions, and those studios have effectively been erased from any literature that Konami has. He has studios for they've been renamed, forced to quit under horrible work situations. We're talking
work ethics, yeah.
Being deprived of power and being shuffled around and whatnot. I remember video that you guys should be familiar with this situation. There was a video detailing kind of some behind-the-scenes things about how Konami is handling everything, and although...
Is that the video by Super Bunny Hop?
Exactly. Some of that might be
I saw that when it first got launched.
Exactly, and Konami asked for a cease and desist, quote unquote, and apparently it was... They tried to force it to be taken down using the guise of some of their video content being used, and it's just a matter of, really? That's your excuse? All the millions of Let's Play video games, and that's why you want to target the one game where someone's talking shit about you. You use the gameplay excuse, but no.
Well, no, it's just like that's a similar story to how they busted this one crime lord back in the 40s. I forget his name off the top of my head, but they busted him because they can never track him, so they basically just nail him for tax evasion. It's the same concept. Game devs can legitimately get away with that. There's like how they shut down that one dude who does like reviews of PC games. They shut him down because he had a bad opinion on them and it was giving them a bad rep. So like, hey,
Total
we
Biscuit?
use footage from it, so let's shut him down.
Was it Total Biscuit?
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Yeah, I remember that. The fucking
that was fun.
day one Gary's incident.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was an incident, alright.
It was.
Anyways, I actually kind of... As much interesting as this Konami topic is, I do want to move on to something else, because we've been on this one for a while.
Sunshine and happiness and rain.
This is why I wanted to go last, because I was going to spark something good.
But anyways, I guess the next thing I'm going to ask, since I already checked it, is... What do you think the future lies for retro gaming?
I don't fucking know.
You don't?
Kickstarters.
Kickstarters, yeah.
Kickstarters. Yep. As long as retro style.
Emulators.
Okay.
Emulators, Kickstarter, nostalgia. There are companies that are creating sort of retro reboot consoles where you could just play your ROMs or put official cartridges in there, and those have not been totally working well, I guess. If anyone's familiar with the name Hyperkin, they'll instantly know what
Retron 5.
That's a very good example, exactly. But it's kind of as much as people talk about retro, it's kind of more of a niche target than anything, because the large consumer base, like the general consumer base, is going to be more interested in what comes out currently.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But what I want to say basically is, in my perspective, I see retro gaming probably having a few more years till it reaches its peak. Like, we're going to see more and more people probably get interested into it, because we'll probably have more and more people who get sick of the current modern gaming. Of course, there's always going to be a bigger market for that, because newer to them is better to a lot of people. But to others, it's not. And with the collectability, like people collecting these games, the niche and the market getting higher and bigger, we're going to just see it continue to rise until it gets to the point where people realize, hey, there's only so many copies of these games and so many consoles of these that were made. And these companies are either A, they don't make them anymore because they stopped doing that years ago, or B, aren't even around anymore. So how can they technically truly be supported? Because these companies aren't just going to come out and saying, hey, we'll make a limited production run of these consoles again. They're not going to do that unless the demand... Yeah, they're not going to do that unless the demand is high enough for it. And even then, they probably would think, that just sounds stupid.
Yeah. How will that make us money?
Yeah.
There is a little bit of a situation with this whole retro gaming thing that I do have to kind of admit is being handled quite well. And that would be Nintendo. They've got this gigantic back catalog of consoles and titles, and in the past couple of console generations, they've been doing the whole virtual console thing on the Wii, the 3DS, and the Wii U. And you have to admit, that's
brilliant marketing skill.
There you go. You have to admit, they can't handle every title doing this, because there are the edge cases, like Thunder said, where the company may no longer exist anymore. But they've been doing the whole retro gaming thing in this way absolutely brilliantly, at least in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Here's the thing. I forget where I saw this and when, but I read somewhere where it's like the people who grew up playing all these games back in the day are now the ones that are making games, and they're making making all these retro style games to like show their love for the games they played as a kid. So in that case, it'll live on, in that way. But if I don't know where I'm going with this, to be honest.
No, I understand exactly what you're trying to say. The people that are trying to make the people that played the games back then are trying to kind of keep the spirit of these games alive in their current days. So these companies that are creating the kind of games that are like Mighty Number 9, Shovel Knight, Ukulele, that kind of situation. Okay, maybe the last one doesn't necessarily apply, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
These are the people that are making the retro reboot type of titles, and they're keeping the memory of these traditional games alive by remaking them in their own image.
Right.
Yeah, it's because these guys are fed up with having to deal with third-party companies telling them what to do with their IPs. Naturally. I mean, fuck, I want to do it.
Titles, read Call of Duty.
There does seem to be a market for these retro revivals as well, so...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
It's definitely not, like, in the super mainstream, but there's a large market for older games and older stylized games.
Yeah, it's growing a hell of a lot larger, too, because of the insurgence of indie games, which are... if I don't want to speak for indie devs, but... It seems like it's a hell of a lot easier to develop a 2D like side-scrolling game as opposed to like a giant 3D world.
Well, I mean, it's easier to make sprites than models.
Understandably so.
Well, I know I made a joke about it earlier with Kickstarter, but just go on there and look at certain games that people have making, like Bloodstained. That made over 2.5 million, something like that already.
Yeah, it made
backing.
It like made well over its goal within the first day.
The first day, it like doubled its goal.
Yeah.
The same for Ukulele and all that.
Oh god, Ukulele! I remember that. That is completely. That is like legendary at this point. They got their goal in 45 minutes of launching their Kickstarter.
Good God.
Yeah.
It was literally 45 minutes, and then it just went on and on and on, and the Kickstarter is still going. I recommend anyone who wants to back these old school kind of games go back right now, or go back Bloodstained or these type of games. It's absolutely fantastic.
Something like Mighty Number 9 or A Hat in Time, even.
Exactly. People are clearly voicing their opinion with these retro games, and they're voicing with their wallets, which is exactly what the big companies wish they could get the people to do. It's just like, pay attention to what the markets want.
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
The ukulele Kickstarter is already at 10 times its original goal. It's still got
Jesus
29 days
Christ.
to go. Yeah, the original goal was 270,000. It's currently at 2.5 million.
Wow.
Yeah, it's still got a full month to go ahead of it.
That's insane.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
My God.
Wasn't the goal for Mighty Number 9 some like close to, wasn't it less than 1 million? Just under or something?
Had to have been, yeah. It was like.
I think they ended up
500,000.
raising 4.5 million by the time the Kickstarter ended.
Oh yeah, it was up there.
hmm So, it's basically, you know, there's a lot of people who still have much love for these franchises, and they would love to see a new, basically see the games that they grew up with in the modern day development style. Something like that. That was worded horribly.
Yeah, I can see what
Understand what
you're
you're trying to say. There's definitely a fan base for this type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
People crave this kind of thing.
Old school brought into the new generation, basically.
Yeah.
Yep.
After all, these kind of games have a certain charm to them
Mhm.
that you just don't see in the modern market. And there's still the kids that grow up playing video games and whatnot, a lot more than there used to be, because gaming has become significantly more popular.
Oh, yeah.
And let's face it, you want these kids to grow up playing these kind of not retro games, but games with charm. You know what I mean? And that's
Games
what a
that
lot of
can be
games have,
memorable.
charm.
Yeah.
Okay?
More specifically, like games that have a lot of love and effort put into them.
And you can
Grow up to play.
you can take the experience of the game with you for years.
So, anyways, because the Kickstarter thing was really brought up, I actually had this topic in mind. I was just gonna randomize it, but since you guys really brought it up, I guess I'll just say it as the next one. Do you think should creating games off of supportive funds from places like Kickstarter continue to grow larger in support as the years go on?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty much with you. I think they should, because it's like, you know,
It's a double-edged sword as well, because you have the people who actually want to make this shit happen and need the crowdfunding, and they're really, you know, invested in making this happen and making good experience. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you got these assholes who are just trying to make a quick buck and shit out something just because, you know, money.
yeah.
There's also the negative side of a situation like this, where there's people in the same situation that you said, but what if they don't necessarily get all their funding? They can't
Yeah.
create their game anymore.
Mhm.
It's really, really kind of saddening when Kickstarter kind of backfires.
Of course, I think with something like Indiegogo, I think they keep at least some of the funds that they manage to raise if they don't reach their goal. So if you use Indiegogo, you have at least some chance of getting your dream game out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know Kickstarter kind of rescinds everything if it doesn't work.
Right. It
And
just...
there's actually a really, really... there was a story I remember reading about a company that had their game backfire at the last second because someone put up a $7,000 bid in their Kickstarter,
Mhm.
and it turns out it was fraudulent, and Kickstarter didn't detect this until an hour until the thing was supposed to be complete.
Oh.
So that money had to
God.
have been pulled because it was fraudulent, and it was in the absolute last second of their Kickstarter, and it completely blew up their Kickstarter. Like it was
That's
just
horrible.
an absolute self-destruct.
That's terrible.
Yeah, that's pretty nasty.
You.
So again, like Rhino said, it really is a double-edged sword. But you know, I think
Again, everything is.
yeah, everything really is. But then again, I would like to see it continue to grow, because what it kind of shows is, it shows when it comes to gaming that people will really care for something if there's enough interest in it. And that's what these things like Kickstarter does, is it shows who's interested in this. Would you pay money for this? People pay their money for it, and they get rewarded if it becomes successful.
That's why you see people shelling out millions upon millions of dollars for all these spiritual successors of games that they loved playing as a kid.
Yeah,
Or games that just look really, really freaking badass, like Distance and Strafe and whatnot.
Mm.
so yeah. Kickstarter all the way in the future, man. Anyways.
I think you also got to remember that with the idea of Kickstarter, you are your own company. Like Keiji Inafune, because Capcom has this raging hard-on hatred boner against Mega Man for some reason back in the day.
Mhm.
Probably not so much anymore because Smash Bros. But you know what I mean. KG had to diverge himself away from Capcom so he can have his own creative influence on his own not his own character but a spiritual successor to his own creation.
He wanted,
that way
he wanted
he
to
could
make it a Mega
fun.
Man game. This is pretty much the only way he could.
Yeah, and because he already has all the knowledge, he has the full reign to make his own new series from the ground up. Same with Bloodstain, because Konami has been blundering Castlevania games left, right, and sideways, and Iga knew that Konami was fucking up. They're like, he was like, people online or Kickstarter has already been proven to be good, so if people like it, I'll do it. One day later, boom, done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just simply say that this big video game publisher type of thing is really... I mean, it's always kind of done this, but even more so now these days, it's starting to prove to have this really, really toxic culture, if that kind of makes any sense. Like these big companies are becoming even worse and worse than they used to be back in the day. It's becoming very
Publishers have
toxic,
too
very
much power.
negative.
They do.
They're all competing with each other for money now. It's now a money race. It's no longer a creative race.
It's basically
Exactly.
it's
There's way too
basic.
many casualties in the process.
It's basically who can grow the bigger dick by using their money.
Yes.
You wonder why games always release on Tuesdays? Because the sales reports come back on Mondays, and they're like stroking their dicks to each other to get who has the highest paycheck.
Pretty
That's
much.
basically it.
And yeah, but that's pretty much how you can look at it. Anyways, the next thing I want to bring up, there's only about four more topics actually.
Bonus round.
Of course, I'm sure some of you know, we're seeing announcements of films based off of video games like Ratchet and Clank, which is due out next year, and Sly Cooper, which is due out sometime, I'm guessing.
Eventually.
Yeah. But
Someday
my
in
question
August.
for you guys about it is, could this possibly lead to a resurgence of movies based off of video games?
As long as they're not live action, that'd be a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah, live
Short
action
time.
usually
Resident Evil.
live action you
Right,
gotta be
Five
very
Freddy's.
live action you gotta be very careful with. It can work if you give it the amount of heart and give it the right time and build upon it and make sure it's well played out and well designed.
And if it's a
and if it's not
style
being directed by
of
Uwe Boll.
The last one we got,
Fucking
Shots fired.
shots.
I think the last one we got was Prince of Persia, and that didn't turn out that horribly in the realm of like Doom or like Mortal Kombat 2.
Of course, Prince of Persia
Yeah,
is
but a postal
that would
movie.
make sense if it was live action. There's a lot of these live action movies that don't make sense as live action movies, like Doom and
Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball Evolution.
Unrelated, but I
Oh,
just had to bring it up.
God.
I'm sorry.
Oh god, then there's the Street Fighter movie. Jesus, so many bad examples out
Aren't
there.
hang on, aren't they
Of
making
course.
isn't Sony Pictures making a live action Sonic the Hedgehog film?
Yeah, Saturday night I cried tears of
Really?
sadness when I heard.
Oh,
Wait, they
God.
are? Wait, no, hang on.
No.
Don't just say that without throwing a link in there. I gotta see this.
Yeah, it's like
I'll see if I can find one.
okay, I can understand things like Grand Theft Auto or Max Payne, which I think may have already happened, or
But Max Payne does have a movie. Grand Theft Auto, they're working on one.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
That's
that those kind of films make sense that they can be turned into live action. Hell, even Portal could probably work live action if you with
I mean, with
CGI.
this-
But
yeah, with the advancement of CG technology,
But-
definitely.
but do we really need a live action Super Mario Brothers like we did? Do we really need an upcoming live action Sonic the Hedgehog?
Isn't
God,
Netflix?
fuck no, and I hope it doesn't happen.
Isn't there going to be a live action Zelda series on Netflix? I remember.
I think
that would make
I think
sense to
Nintendo
an extent,
debuted that.
That one
I
could
think
work,
we're-
but I don't know.
You have humanoid beings in it with Zelda, Link, and all that, but the Sonic the Hedgehog doesn't make sense. It's
Yeah, like
it's giving me a headache just thinking about it.
Like it'd be like the fucking live action Scooby Doo movie where almost everything is CG except for like 2 human actors.
Wait. Well, hang on a sec. So the guy who's making the Sonic the Hedgehog thing was the same guy who worked on the Fast and Furious franchise.
I don't know. I just went for the first link I could find.
That is
Yeah,
incredibly.
Wow, I can't believe this is fucking real.
That is incredibly ironic, considering Fast.
Uh-huh.
Or frightening.
And furious.
I mean, they did that.
The fan base is furious. The irony.
I was always kind of intrigued by the idea of a live-action Sonic film, but then they did that fan film about a year ago, something like that, and that absolutely sucked so badly.
As someone
It
who's
just proved it doesn't work.
It
As-
doesn't.
let me put it this way: as someone who enjoys joking around with Sonic and whatnot and all that stuff,
Got you fast.
that fan film was horrible.
It was awful.
It was horrendous.
They try to cash in on, well, cash in, haha. Even though, they had so many like known faces on the internet in that movie. It was almost like their selling point, basically.
Yeah, and there's two things that always bugs me about that. First, why does Sonic look so creepy?
God, Sonic, fucking his model in that movie, it's so bad.
Yeah, and
It was only a fan project, so you can understand basically the crapiness
His
of the
fur was a
CGI.
mess.
it was dark for some
I
reason.
can understand that, but his fur was a mess.
And Knuckles had
yeah.
fingers.
Yeah.
Then again, doesn't he have them in the Sonic Boom cartoon as well?
He
I think
hasn't
so.
in most continuities.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not. This is focusing.
Blue arms.
But yeah, video game.
Thunder, I'm a
God.
Sonic fanboy. If you need an answer about it, just come to me.
Okay, you guys are going into the whole fanboy kind of department here. Let's get back on the topic.
Yeah, let's get back on the topic. But yeah, the thing with Ratchet and Clank and Sly Cooper, at least, is they're both completely CG animated. They're animated films, and I think that's how those films will probably succeed quite well because, again, these are franchises that people grew up on, so there's the interest, and plus, they're not going to a live-action thing that they don't need. It's completely animated, and from the trailers that I've seen of it, they both look very promising.
Well, can I quickly? I feel the need to put something out. These aren't being done like fans or anything in particular.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really bad video game-based movies. The Ratchet and Clank movie in particular, I'm very happy to say that Insomniac in particular has a very, very big role attached to these. And if you're trying to do a movie on this, it's one thing to try to cash in on the name, but if you actually have the video game developer, the creators of said project originally working alongside this, then not only do you have a higher chance of success, but it will also kind of it'll stick true to form to what it was originally created, meant to be, and this does have a significant effect on not only perceived quality, but also how it'll actually come out in the end, like actual quality. I mean, Ratchet and Clank movies is Insomniac thing, so in the end, it's being treated like actual Ratchet and Clank. It's legitimate Ratchet and Clank, and it's going to be beautiful in that sense.
Yeah.
Because the original creators are attached and working heavily on this.
Yeah, you have actually have the people who made it, who know it, and know how to make it work.
The original voice actors as well, who know the characters' personalities and quirks and whatnot. The original
We're going
writers.
off topic, I think, slightly, but
It's fine. It's a podcast. Come on.
No, it's
True.
not exactly going on topic because we're kind of backing the whole movie thing. You know what I mean?
yeah, I think personally, what you're basically thinking, what you're saying is completely right. I think, though, like I said, if you do video game movies, keep them in formats that make sense. If it's an overzealously cartoon-like game, make it an animated film. If it's something that could work in a real-life scenario, make it live action, because that'll work. Just
Exactly.
don't go outside the realms of what sounds like it would make sense, because that's when you end up with Super Mario Brothers and Mortal Kombat Annihilation and
Every Resident Evil movie.
It's not necessarily just about style. In my opinion, the real way to do it is to keep it in the not just the style, but the spirit of what was originally created. Style has one part to do with it, but you want to keep it spiritually the same. You know what I mean? Like the heart and soul, because that's what drove people to these franchises in the first place.
Yep. So, So let's get a little bit personal with these next two. What was the
Drum roll, please.
Oh, Bob's about to be triggered.
What was the worst game ending you've ever witnessed?
Oh, here we go.
Oh god, that's, I could
First
go.
game.
Who do you want to go first, Fonda?
Who likes
Oh,
who wants to take the
God.
stage?
I have one in mind, but it's such a fucking meme answer that I don't want to say it.
Say it.
Sonic
You're a
06.
meathead, so-
I actually
Release
will.
the memes.
Here's the thing, Rhino. I agree with you. It's a
They retconned the entire game.
they
That's
base
a good thing. It means it doesn't exist.
Of what?
Yeah, I know.
What game?
Sonic 06.
Oh.
I mean, it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. It's like you're playing this game, this pretty bad game, and it's like, wait, so I played all this just to
I suffered through this entire quote game.
just to find out that this
didn't
never
happen.
happened.
Yeah.
One thing that they did completely erased everything that ever happened, and so I had to sit through something that technically never happened. Thanks a lot, Sega and Sonic Team.
Yeah.
Yep.
There are some other games that have done this kind of thing, but it's not like Sonic 06 is the only game to do this kind of thing. It's just, I guess,
course not.
the most famous example.
Mhm.
I mean, Driver San Francisco did the same thing. They just let you on early enough so you don't get pissed, and
At
it's all
least-
tongue in cheek anyway.
At least the thing with Driver San Francisco is it made sense. Because
And it was enjoyable.
'Cause
It
John-
wasn't a glitch fest.
yeah, because John Tanner's in a coma, so of course none of it's happening. You're playing what's in his mind as he's in a coma. So,
Yeah.
so it actually feels entertaining to see him like, wait, this never happened. God damn. And then
Well, like I
and then
said,
you get
they
at
let you
least
on extremely early, and it's it's meant to be silly, and you know what the situation is, but you don't give a shit because you're kind of informed in advance, and the game is fun as hell. Like
Yeah.
I said, this is a different kind of situation because it's the situation done right.
yep.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, but yeah, though.
May I go next?
I can't.
Go ahead.
I don't know if I'm gonna get crapped on for this, but Mass Effect 3.
Oh boy.
Oh, Mass Effect 3.
I have put so many hours and so much money into that
That was
franchise.
such a controversial
I love it,
thing.
But Jesus Christ, BioWare, how the hell do you fuck up at the last hurdle?
Yeah. Choose a color.
Choose a
God.
color and have a sucky ending, no matter what you choose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
And the last fucking word on the screen was DLC.
yeah.
Oh,
That pissed me off so badly.
that was so controversial. It drove so many people up the wall.
Yeah, because
drove
it was
me
a
up the wall.
terrible fucking ending.
Mm-hmm.
You've invested hundreds of hours into the entire trilogy, and
It's not
they
even just a
said
trilogy,
that.
you've got the extended universe for like the books and the comics as well.
Yeah.
At least
they
I have anyway.
And BioWare themselves said your decisions throughout the entire trilogy mattered and affect the ending, and the ending ends up being a change of color.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, there
God.
was well, obviously it wasn't just that, there was variations, but none of the
Right.
endings were satisfying in any way.
Mm-hmm. The
I've got a
differences
similar
were too
situation
subtle.
now that I think
Peter
about it.
Poison.
Yeah,
Isn't it
I've
like-
definitely got a similar situation here. What else have we got, though?
Didn't they end up like completely overhauling the ending?
They made it slightly better,
I think
but
they
it
added like
still
DLC
wasn't
like explain
satisfying.
the ending.
Ah,
The extended cut DLC, I think it was called.
I see.
Yeah.
Still wasn't that great.
I had completely
That's
forgot
like
about
please
that
don't be
till you
angry at us
mentioned it.
anymore.
Anything else? Anyone else wants to add, like Bob or Jericho and Garnet?
God, I played so many games. I could go for like hours, but the one that immediately comes to mind for me that's recent is Soul Calibur 5. I don't know if any of you guys ever played Soul Calibur, but I did, and
I haven't.
Soul Calibur 5 just for me was a giant disappointment of a game in terms of story because they not only did they forget characters who had legitimately cool like build up in story, they just acts like half the cast who were really cool. Some characters were still in, but it had like no relevance whatsoever, no story as to what the hell happened in like 15 years since the last game.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically just turned the ending of Soul Calibur 5, which was once a really cool series of like good and evil like confronting each other, and it just suddenly became, no brother, I love you. I'm like, I will save my sister. I'm just like, what the fuck am I watching?
It just turned
It's one of
bad.
those endings.
Uh-huh.
It's just a complete betrayal of the build-up of the series for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I'm certain if I were to spend like another half hour thinking I could find better answers for you, but that's just like what immediately comes to mind for me.
I will say one that you can argue if it's the worst or not. I wouldn't say it's the worst, but I'd say one of the most anticlimactic has to be the first Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
with 100%.
It's just like you do all the stuff in the game, you beat Cortex, and you just get a ride off in the sunset, or you just do the ending and don't even do
Yeah, you completely skip the final boss.
yeah.
Yeah, nice.
And
Actually,
that
no,
might
that's
be a little bit of a sticky situation because you said to yourself it was the first Crash Bandicoot. This is kind of Naughty Dog's some of their elementary attempt at this. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's their first or their second try because I don't know if Naughty Dog made any games prior to that.
They did.
but
Yeah.
they did.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Well, it's still very early in the series, and they rectified this with later situations. It's not the climactic ending to a massive trilogy or something like that. It was their first Crash Bandicoot, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to totally excuse them for this, but it's understandable, is what I'm trying to say.
You know, I think I can actually elaborate, throw something into the Crash Bandicoot thing. The 100% ending for Crash Bandicoot 2. For the amount of shit you have to go through in order to just see the ship blow up in the distance and in a very anticlimactic way, that was just boring.
You just reminded
Especially
me.
since Crash Bandicoot 2 is so difficult.
Just reminded me of something. It's the same situation with Sonic 4 Episode 2. The ending is the same whether you don't get the Chaos Emeralds or you do get the Chaos Emeralds.
God damn it.
You just watch the Death Egg slowly shut down. It kind of saddened me when I collected all the Red Star rings and all the Chaos Emeralds, and I did not get a different ending.
Just makes me sad in the pants.
Yeah. So yeah.
Also, back to Crash Bandicoot. Honestly, the only thing I don't like about the ending of Crash 1 is the fact that the good ending requires you to skip the final boss. That's my only complaint on it.
Screw you, Cortex.
What is the logic behind said good ending? Skip the final boss to get the good ending. What is the situation behind this, if you don't mind? Because I've never really played the game to completion, so...
Thunder. You know more about this.
So this is for first Crash, right? You're
Yeah.
asking. All right. If you actually manage to get every gem, you find all the bonuses, you do every single thing in the game.
100% the game.
There's like a level called the Great Hall, which happens just before the boss with the battle with Cortex at the end, and you basically, if you have everything, you can just go on a series of like gems, or just hop on the platforms and reach to like a special curtain, which will just will give you access to Crash's girlfriend. They hug and confront each other, and then they just ride off on some kind of creature thing, and that's the ending.
They just
It
completely
looks
ignore
straight out
Cortex.
thing like from Heavy Metal.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Then how then how do you take down the bad guy? You just leave him behind and he just like spontaneously self-destructs or something? Does he lose to the power of love melting his heart or something?
He just kind of fucks off until
Priorities,
Crash 2.
Priorities, man. Sex first, then Cortex later.
Yeah.
Oh god. Priorities. Okay.
Okay.
Oh god. I'm sorry. Are we still on this topic or are we trying to move on?
If you guys want to add anything else to it, you can. Otherwise, I am going to go on to the last topic. There is one other one, but I'm probably going to save it for next time because we've been going on for about like an hour and a half, and I'm getting a little tired, admittedly.
Haha, welcome to the World Podcast, homie.
I kind of did have one idea, but if we're gonna move on, then let's move on. Then I
would have liked to do this earlier in the day, but you guys were busy, so I understand. Last thing I'm going to ask is, well, your best and worst gaming moments / experiences in general.
I got a funny one though.
Oh.
I've never before been so angry at a game. I actually got bloody nose from it.
What?
That happened before, actually. I'm not kidding. So, there's this one Naruto game called Naruto Class Ninja Revolution 2 on the Wii that I played a hell of a lot when I was 14 and 15 because it was a legitimately good game. So, there's one character I'm trying desperately to unlock, and it requires like such a steep, like it requires being one mission that's like nigh impossible. Until I figure out, I spent like an entire weekend working on it, and I finally beat it. I'm like, okay, cool, I beat it. I got the good rank. Did I get the character? Did not get the character. I just feel like a little liquid running down the side of my left nostril. I'm like, Did I just get so angry I actually got myself a fucking bloody nose? Actually happened.
I've gotten pissed off at games before, but never that mad.
I don't get mad, I just stew. And apparently I stewed so hard I gave myself an aneurysm.
I've broken a few analog sticks in my time. And a Game Boy screen.
I think there was one time I got like really mad at a game for the Dreamcast that I ended up just letting go of the controller, just letting it drop, and the controller shattered on a carpet.
Oh.
What?
That was a very sturdy carpet. That you were seeing like 20 stories in the air.
It was a third-party controller though, so that probably explains it.
This is back in the age of third-party controllers being made out of paper and hamsters.
Paper controller.
I think it was made by Nyko or something.
Oh god, Nyko was horrible back in the day.
They made decent PS2 memory cards.
Yeah, I said back in the day. Let's face it, the PS2 is a little bit older than the Dreamcast. Maybe only by a year or two, but that year or two made a difference. Honestly, I don't know if I had any bad game memories like that. I'm just too chill of a person, so.
Okay, so my best gaming experience. There was a time I was playing. I think it was Burnout 3 Takedown in 2005, and there was a race that I could never beat as a kid. And there was this one time it looked like it was going to be the same thing. I end up getting on the last lap, and to this day, I will never know how I did it, but I managed to not only catch up, but I took down everybody else in one go and won the race. And I was like, holy crap.
Oh, God, the Burnout games are fantastic for that. You just go on a rampage and you just like...
Honestly,
God,
to me, though,
so
my best gaming experience is just pulling off some amazing trick or one-lap comebacks.
This one probably isn't like the best experience, but it's one of my favorite moments I've ever had in gaming. It was a long time ago when I was playing ATV Off-Road Fury for PS2. I was doing a race at the Red Rocks track, and in that track there's a three-way intersection, and two of those paths are in midair. I remember I was chasing somebody, trying to pass him. Dude went off the jump. Another dude went off the jump on the other side of the intersection, and they met in the middle.
Oh
God.
It was incredibly hilarious, and I wish I had some form of way of archiving it, but unfortunately I didn't. Wow. But as far as best overall experience, I don't know. Probably when I play a Sonic game. Like, if I play Sonic 3 and Knuckles, or even 3D Blast, because unpopular opinion.
It's alright.
I remember thoroughly enjoying playing the 3 Boost titles. Unleashed, that's it. Unleashed, Colors, and Generations. They were so incredibly fun. And then just pulling off super hard shit.
I think the most rewarding experience for me, like, best experience, is anytime I play Donkey Kong Country 2 and beat the Toxic Tower level in my first go. Because that's a notoriously hard level in the game. I don't think it's the hardest, because one bonus level has a very, very infamously hard section. But Toxic Tower is like the overall, like, every aspect can be pretty difficult. And whenever I beat it in one try, I feel like a champion.
Say the most.
Can I be totally honest though about my most embarrassing gaming experience ever? Okay, so have you guys ever played Donkey Kong 64 before?
No.
Yeah.
I know about it.
Once erased my father's save unintentionally in Donkey Kong 64. Does that count?
Pretty close. Okay, so I've had that game for a few years, and back when I was like 7 years old, I finally got to the very first boss fight in the game, Armadillo, who was like universally accepted as like one of the easiest boss fights in like human history. It took me 5 years to figure out how to beat that boss.
Oh.
From the age of 7 until like 11 or 12, and I only figured out how to beat it because my mom got me the like strategy guide for some unbeknownst reason to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at how to do it. It was like you just pick up the barrels and throw it at him. I was like,
I have a similar story. It's I had the same problem with the final boss of Super Mario World. For the longest time, I couldn't figure out how to beat Bowser and like throw the Mecha Koopas at him because for some reason, like every other point in the game, I remembered that I could throw things up except when I fought Bowser.
oh, that's it.
So my strategy was trying desperately to keep the cape and jump at full charge and kick it at him, and I never succeeded.
What, getting to the final fight with the cape on?
Yeah,
Oh.
like
Oh,
a
man.
cape and a cape in reserve.
Oh, dude.
It's like, oh fuck, I died. Time to go to the top secret area.
Shit.
Top secret here is just the goodies stage that everybody would use as a kid.
Can absolutely annihilate the special world. Can't figure out how to beat Bowser.
And Turbo had something to say. We kind of
I was
just.
just gonna say, best experience I think was probably when I finally beat Sephiroth in Final Fantasy VII.
Mm.
Like 2 years ago, I had to restart the game twice because I was just completely unprepared. Worst gaming experience was probably doing a complete grind fest for hours on end, and then the game decides to die for some reason.
Oh,
Fun.
I once did it for about 9 hours straight. I think all I did was accidentally knock the power button, and I'd lost 9 hours worth of grinding.
oh my.
And I hadn't saved, so I kind of raved
Ew.
really badly.
Yep. Time for a little bit of break from that game.
Yeah.
As much as
I think it was a different game, but
Okay, as much as I love this series, the worst gaming experience that I've ever had was playing Ratchet and Clank Going Commando as a kid.
Mhm.
I had to save late into the game, and I loaded it back up to continue. When I loaded it up, it was really glitching up and was not playing very well. I got about 10 minutes into a very crucial part, and it froze.
Oh.
So I restart the console. Please insert a PlayStation or PlayStation 2 format disc. Red screen pops up.
Oh.
Oh goodness.
Oh my.
I restart.
Oh me, oh my.
I restart again. The game loads, but it tells me your save data has been corrupted.
Ooh,
Uh-oh.
Mm.
that
So-
actually just hurt me.
Triple whammied. I was so upset.
Fucking annihilated.
My
Thank-
anus hurts from that story.
Thankfully, it's never happened since. Yeah, that's easily my worst gaming experience.
Ooh.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So yeah, anyone else got anything else to add? Like
Trying to
anything,
think,
anything
but,
they want to just say in general?
Some of my worst gaming experiences was just playing really shitty games. Like big rigs.
that counts.
You played Big Rigs.
I own big rigs.
Oh.
He actually,
Oh,
and,
A
if,
physical copy in box.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
and if you think he's lying, he can send you a picture.
Yeah.
I'll take his word for it.
Oh god, that reminds me. I used to own Superman 64.
Oh.
I used to own. I think the worst game I've ever owned physically was. What was it? The. Oh god, oh yeah, Bubsy 3D.
Oh.
Oh crap!
So much Bubsy.
I don't have it anymore,
Bubsy was a
obviously.
Bubsy.
Bubsy was a Bubsy, I think.
I know it's a crappy game, but isn't it actually? I know it's a crappy game, but isn't it actually worth quite a bit of money now?
Wolves
No.
away.
Really?
Is
Is
it?
it not? Oh,
I don't know.
might just be then.
Oh, not.
I hope not.
I'm sorry, it's,
Oh,
no, it's
I
Bubsy
want
was a
Bubsy 3D
I
to be on
guess.
PlayStation Network.
It might just be here that it's worth quite a bit of money then.
Mm.
I think it's hard to come by.
Yeah. So yeah, I apologize guys if I sound a bit trained. It's just, long day, and I came back from seeing Mad Max Fury Road, which is an absolutely fantastic film, and everybody should go see it because it's amazing.
Right now.
Yep.
Pay for
Turn
my
off this-
movie ticket. I'll get on it.
So yeah, but I will say before we finish this off is anyone who's watching this, if you've ever got a question and you would like us to answer it in a future
The esteemed panel.
yeah, if you'd ever like to ask us for a future HG Talk episode, if they actually happen, please feel free to leave them in the comments, and I will include them in after we get through some topics for that, and then we'll read them out and we'll give you answers for it, and we'll see where it goes from there. And for all we know, we may actually have new people in for HG Talk, because, you know, to keep it fresh, and then anybody here's welcome to come back whenever they like.
Always nice to have a rotating cast.
So yeah, so it is very nice to have a rotating cast, because sometimes, you know, hearing my voice gets very boring.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah,
I'm thoroughly entertained.
But anyways, guys, I think that's gonna cover it for now for our first HG Talk podcast, because this has been going on for quite a bit, but it's been fun.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, leave your feedback on what you think. If you think I should do this more, let me know. If you think I should never do this again, let me know. If you think I'm gay, let me know.
Like, comment, rate, subscribe, share this with your friends on Tumblr and Instagram.
Like if Thunder is gay.
Make sure
Subscribe to my Patreon. Gosh.
share this to your
Be
friends.
sure to post this on MySpace.
MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Butt Stallions.
What about Indiegogo and Kickstarter?
Yes.
Message your friends
Go
about.
fund me.
Message your
Become my
friends.
pimp on PayPal.
Message all your friends, like, check out this amazing video of us just talking about random shit.
Send this video out to your friends on AOL Instant Mail.
Make an epic montage compilation.
Listen to the dial-up sound.
You've got mail.
Be sure to post this to your friends on Neopets.
That's a relic of the past.
Mike spam this on Gmod.
Oh boy, I can't wait to make stuff for them for this on my DeviantArt.
Yes, send all of your smut fics.
Send all your furry porn to www.fuckthis.org.
Clearly, we're terrible people. Then you're guaranteed to love us because of this.
What a tremendous ending. We have really stretched this out, but anyways.
I live to lower the bar.
I break the bar.
I created nothing.
Oh god, that means you've created the bar.
Exactly. But anyways, guys, in all seriousness, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments for whatever you want, and I will see you guys again.
I love you.
Hey.
Nobody wants to be my friend.
Good.
Why don't you look me in the eyes when we make love?
Because I have a bag over your head.
Okay, guys, see ya.